Hi, everyone. Are you guys ready for the absolute worst thing in the world? Literally, I'm not joking. It's one of the worst things ever to watch. I've only seen one clip of it. Oh my God. My brain. Let me just show you that one. Hi, Jim B. Hi, Safari Mukaji. Okay, let me show you. Oh my God. My brain just, I have no words for this, but you have to see this. Oh my God.
Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow. So thank you for coming on. Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow. So thank you for coming on. Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow. So thank you for coming on. Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow. So thank
Yep, big brain fella. Jesus Christ. And that's within the first 2 minutes. God. Oh, by the way, on the good news, somebody sent me this like adorable Lenin plaster. Yeah, the lights are overwhelming, I understand, but this is Lenin. I don't know how do I show you, but okay, I know I've been lazy and I have a camera, so I don't have to do this for much longer, but I've been lazy in setting this up. So yeah, okay, you can kind of see that it's Lenin. Okay. So I kind of thank you whoever sent me this. It was so adorable. Okay. Oh, phew. I did not drop or break the Lenin. Phew. So Vaush and Dylan Burns apparently 9 months ago spoke about Belarus. And I didn't really know who Dylan Burns was until a few weeks ago. He quote tweeted me on some stupid stuff. And then I saw his parts of his debate with Jackson Hinkle. And I thought, why not improve my algorithm by like in the YouTube, like these like little clapbacks are the ones that improve your algorithm. That's why some people keep obsessing about Jimmy Dore, and so that they can like, yeah, it's like, yeah. So the algorithm. So anyways, they both have way more followers than me on YouTube, and I really need to make the algorithm go vroom. So yeah, so I guess I decided we're gonna do this. Oh Lord. Any comments? I need some comments. I need some chat revenues. I need some good news. I need some positive feedback. This is Lord. Okay. Phew. Okay. So the one good thing is that I don't have to. Yeah, like I tried. Okay. So the good news is I know I have the transcript, so I know exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. God, the problem is that I'm gonna. Thank you, my Croatian friend. Hi, DPRK Hockey Federation. Hi, we need critical thinking. Good evening, Shire. Okay, so we already saw the big brained take. Oh Lord. Okay, so I probably am going to be. I have not. This is a cold reading because there's no bloody way I can actually handle them a second time. So please excuse me if I seem a little disorganized and I don't know what's going on. And I probably will, but I've also know better than to like play the whole thing because of the YouTube John Oliver takedown that John Oliver like took down completely, but I'll figure out a way to put that back up. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, so with that, thank you. Buenas. Okay. Lord is Lord. Okay. Allah. Okay. I'm praying to all gods because Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of friends from Belarus, and my really good Russian teacher, he's also from Belarus, and he's been like really good at teaching me Russian. So I don't want his home to get cooed. So I guess I'll do it for him and everyone. Okay, I better get up some love from people in Belarus for this. If you're in Minsk, you should send me like a heart emoji or something. Yeah, like via Twitter or VK or something like that. Yeah, definitely. If you're in Minsk, send me a heart emoji. And if you're not in Minsk but in Belarus, definitely send me a big heart emoji or something else that shows that you appreciate going through literally the. Oh my God! Thank you so much. Okay, so let us. Ready?
Your chop Sly. I'm 3 times the size I was last time we talked. Yeah. So hit me up. Give me the initial prompt. Treat me like an idiot school child, and I'll.
He's not an idiot school child? Okay.
I'll try to chime in when I can.
Okay, so I know it might be hard to believe, but there are.
I will DM you as soon as I'm done with the broadcast. Thank you so much, by the way. I appreciate this. Ready?
Actually, countries outside of the United States, and one of those countries is a nation by the name of Belarus, which is between an extremely strategically important place.
Which is between the So basically, it feels like a cut. So I bet you in the live thing, he kind of got where Belarus was confused. So it is probably between. I mean, there's Lithuania here, there is Ukraine here, there's Russia here. But I mean, you guys all know how to look at maps. Yeah. Yeah, you guys know how to look at maps. Done. Thank you. So he got it wrong, and I bet you we won't be able to go through all 57 minutes because I will need to stop every 30 seconds to explain why they're wrong. So I never get to finish a lot of these takedown videos because they're going to take 100 hours if I actually finish them. I need some. We'll do it. Okay, but whatever.
Between Russia and the European Union.
So he does not know where Belarus is. Between Russia and the European Union. Oh my God. Okay. This is so funny. So Dylan does not know where Belarus is. Okay. 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 So let's continue.
And it is led by a man by the name of Alexander Lukashenko, who has led the country since Is
he reading from Wikipedia? Hold on. Like, what is he reading from? And look at Vaush literally Googling Belarus map. I don't know who he is until I saw him troll me with some really dumb take, and I can't even remember what the dumb take was. Yes, DPRK. Hockey. They actually ended up beating like a guest NHL team or something. I forgot. Long story. And the NHL guy was like, "No, we did not lose on purpose, you moron." And the CNN guys, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes, we did not lose on purpose, you moron." So, anyways, he reads from, okay, well, let me show you something about Wikipedia that's really interesting. Okay, so it all started when I was like looking at this article about about the Marshall Plan. And well, what happened with the Marshall Plan is that they had some Nazi interpreting. Okay, so they had exactly what Marshall said, but they had some Nazi interpreting what Molotov said. And I felt like it would be better just to put what Molotov said in his own words. So I edited it and said, Marshall said blah, Molotov said blee. That sounds like you're providing both points of view and fair and whatnot and all that liberal Wikipedia rules. Well, the editor removed it. And then I accused them of having a pro-Western bias. And guess what they said? Oh my, it's like, so, see? Pro-Western bias. Something to do with history being written by winners. I guess. That's what the Wikipedia editor told me. So they admitted to having a pro-Western bias. So anytime, like if, I'm just going to send this in the chat, but if like anyone ever, I mean, like, how do you seriously cite some place that has a pro-colonial genocider bias? I mean, I don't know. Does Vaush and Destiny have the same cadence? I've never listened to either for long enough. Oh, okay. I know Vaush's cadence, but oh god, I don't want to know Destiny's cadence. Huh? Okay, yeah, so I was right. There was a Canadian team. Hello, Jubal Jones. So I forgot. Oh yeah. So Dylan Burns literally reads from Wikipedia. Oh god. How can they like they have to be how oh, Lord.
1994, which is also conveniently the last election which had any legitimacy attached to it.
Okay, let's look at the legitimate elections in Belarus. Sorry that I'm okay. So what I have, okay, so I think I've gone through this, but yeah, I have, but the bloody John Oliver takedown. So it'll be review for some people. Okay. So the first thing that apparently we have to understand is that legitimate elections are basically legitimate elections are basically what the State Department approves of. The more the State Department approves of an election, the more legitimate the election begins. And yes, I have a group called Chad Parenti Stands because Parenti's a Chad while Chomsky's a virgin. So yeah, we are all Chad Parenti Stands here. So this is the Bill Clinton Constitution, is what I'm going to call it. The right to nominate a presidential candidate will be enjoyed by those who manage to collect no less than 70 parliamentary deputies or 100,000 signatures within 50 days. Well, Lukashenko's constitution actually made it easier for other people to run for president and also made it harder for it to be an oligarchy because you have 30 days now to get 100,000 signatures. So he actually literally made it easier for other people to run for president. And yeah, but so like literally Dylan Burns is, by the way, Shushkevali or whatever he was, what's his name? Shushkevali. He was one of the Three Stooges. No, it's Stanislav Shushkevich. It's Stanislav Stalislavovich Shushkevich. Okay. Yeah, that guy was that guy. No, it's not Shushkevali. I'm getting him confused with the Georgian guy. Sorry, it's Stanislav Shush. No, oh my God, yeah, that Stanislav Shushkevich. And this, I believe his dad was in a gulag, which shows you that the Soviet Union should have been more authoritarian and not have let somebody whose dad was in a gulag ever become a leader of Belarus. Oh, he was also in charge of, oh my God. He was Shushkev. Hold on. This guy is, okay, so Stanislav Shushkevich was the leader of the coup government in Belarus before Lukashenko when they undemocratically dissolved the government. Here is the Clinton White House praising them. So that should be a red flag. Okay. So anyways, what happened is that, let's see, it's really easy. Okay. Heyo, Angelo. After the Soviet Union was dissolved against the will of the majority of the people, in Belarus, the guy was very, very unpopular, and he got a vote of no confidence in the parliament, Shushkevich. At that point, 39-year-old Lukashenko campaigned actually on the promise to reconstitute the Soviet Union. And he was elected in a landslide. So in 1991, Stanislav Shushkevich, along with Leonid Kravchuk and Boris Yeltsin, the Three Stooges, they dissolved the Soviet Union against the will of the majority. And according to State Department, Shushkevich, ironically, Shushkevich, who constantly opines about freedom in Belarus, never actually won an election. And he did agree to a privatization framework in Belarus. Yeah. They don't, because they're not smart enough to, well, stupidity is done on purpose. So the system selects for people who don't question anything and aren't curious. Oh, Thank you. Welcome. I appreciate this. I hope do give me feedback. I'm always welcome to audience feedback, and I usually take it into account. I have ADHD, so remember that. Yeah. So, Shush, we were talking about Shushkevich. Let me see if I can find a picture. Remember, I can't handle. Oh God. Okay, this one breaks my heart. Every single day, this photo breaks my bloody heart. But I can show you this picture that breaks my heart every time. Oh God. Oh, this one. This guy is Shushkevich. I'm 90% sure. Okay. There's an old meme. There's an what is QR helpful? I don't know what QR helpful is, but there's an old meme where somebody asks, "Where's Brazil?" and the kid points the map to here, and then somebody asks, "Where's Ethiopia?" and they point a map to here, and then the teacher just asks, "Where's the Soviet Union?" and the kid points here. That's me. So yeah, this is the Soviet Union will always be here. So okay, so so ultimately, the election that he called the only legitimate election is probably the most illegitimate election Belarus has ever had because I remember the US government exists to protect those with property from those without. These is James Madison's exact words. I'm not making this up. Like he said it. The founders, and they've created a system that works exactly like it's intended to protect those from property from those without. So the US, but if you give people who are kind of poor a choice, they are going to choose to have the US not exploit them. And so the US that can never actually have real democracy. What they call democracy is actually capitalism, and you'll see it'll always be from the point of view of Jeff Bezos. So if a country says no, Jeff Bezos, you can't dump. I don't know, not maybe Koch brothers. No, Koch brothers, you can't dump like frack fluid down the river where infants bathe. That's going to be classified as authoritarian. But if you say kill everything that moves, that's freedom. Henry Kissinger said this, by the way. Okay. By the way, if you're new to this stream, please share it with your friends and family, and enemies and everyone else. Okay, let's continue.
I was born then. I wonder if there's any significance to that.
Oh my God!
You brought the dictatorship to Belarus single-handedly by your birth.
Oh.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, if Vaush brought Lukashenko, that would make Vaush. That would be Vaush's most revolutionary act ever. Like if Vaush's birth brought Lukashenko, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Well, okay, so
this is your fault.
It actually makes him be.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, you should tell that to the people of Belarus. But after that, he basically did some certain referendums in 1995, which made it so he could kind of dissolve the parliament.
No. What he did was when he campaigned, Lukashenko promised these three things. So the first question, first he promised to get rid of the Belarus Nazi flag. And then he also wanted to give the people who spoke Russian as their home language, mother tongue, not home language, I don't know, I'm thinking mother tongue as Belarusian equal status. Also increasing economic integration with Russia and amending the constitution so that the people can recall parliamentary representatives or like have a vote of no confidence. So this referendum in 1995 was actually done very democratically because it was a referendum where people get to decide on, like, it's like a direct ballot. And I mean, oh, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna. This is really funny. Okay. Well, if Clinton had not given Yeltsin the codes to the generals, if Clinton was not able to hack the generals' codes, they would have offed Yeltsin in 1991 and restored the Soviet Union right then. But Yeltsin like had to shell the parliament. Yeah, Clinton basically figured out a way to hack the generals' code when they were doing the coup to get the Soviet Union back. And that point, Clinton gave Yeltsin these codes, and he heard their whole plan, and that's why he bloody shelled the parliament. Yeah, so you don't even need that. Like, literally, if they had a different encryption, maybe the Soviet Union might have survived. Infinitely, this is an infinite fight. Okay, let's continue.
Quite easily, if he believes they were doing something unconstitutional. He did stuff against the parliament's wishes, and in 1996.
The Clinton parliament's wishes, what the hell? Okay, by the way, I forgot why I was laughing, but here's why I was laughing. The Nazis in the European Union are being kind of fascisty the day that Belarus lost its fascist flag. Lukashenko? I wish. Or Vaush. I would never have Vaush as a live guest. Lukashenko? I'm confused now. Okay.
He did a huge power grab, which after that point, it's hard to call Belarus a democracy.
Power grab. How? He was democratically elected, as in he was elected under the Clinton system. So that sounds like you don't like the rules of the game at that point. And then he had a direct ballot initiative to amend the Constitution that like overwhelming amount, like 80-something% approved of. So this is literally Dylan Burns is saying the more State Department approval it has, the more democratic a country becomes. So using his standard, Pinochet is a democracy, and is he a Gusano? I don't even know who he is. Is he a Gusano? But yeah, this is liberalism at its peak. They have absolutely no curiosity on top of it because they're good at regurgitating elite bourgeoisie's story. They think that is a substitute for intelligence. And then they look down upon everyone because there are liberals are A+ students. That's what they are. Oh, exactly. I have. Thank you. That's what liberals are. A+ students. Okay, well, let's continue. Did I finish my thought? I don't remember if I finished my thought or not, but if I haven't, type it and I will type what the question I should have been answering is, and I will answer it.
There's been basically allegations of voters vote stuffing, which I actually have video evidence of.
Really? He has video evidence of vote stuffing. Yes, this is beautiful. Teachers' pets of the empire. He does. Okay, let's
You'd like to see it.
Sure.
There's I'll send it I'll send it to you in DMs. There's been allegations of for the just the usual how you like change the vote in the country. He somehow always seems to get around 80% of the vote no matter the election.
Okay, this is because the opposition, let's look at what the State Department says about the opposition. Well, first of all, of course, the opposition also is anti-old people having ambulances, but that's another story. Hold on. Let's see. Give me one more minute. So when you understand that a state is a vehicle for suppressing one class over another, you understand how fascism happened in the 1940s, and then what happened after fascism, you will understand how. No, that is Marx. The purpose of a state is to suppress one class over another. That's definitely Marx. Anyways, so this is what the State Department says about the alleged opposition. You see it? Today's opposition is composed of lazy former government officials and mercenaries, meaning nationalists or pro-Westerners who support any idea for a profit. Who's the guy on the screen? What are glowies? Okay, shall we continue? Yeah, I'm totally doing this so that I can milk the algorithm so that we can get some views unless capitalism decides to ban me or something.
And it has gotten to hilariously dictatorial levels. The last legislative election before this recent election that happened was in 2019, and not a single opposition candidate won election.
Okay, let's just okay, let's okay, there are, I mean, they do know that the big never mind. Okay, so let us look at the this is funny. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the 2019 parliamentary election. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh my God, he's an idiot. Okay. Oh Lord. I bet you he searched this. Okay, so if you Google Belarus 2019 parliamentary election, this is the top result that pops up. So this is like some sort of random statistics about random statistics like party members versus non-partisans. And since 94% are nonpartisan, as in they don't really have political parties apparently in Belarus, this sounds weird. Like, how do you have an opposition when they're all nonpartisan, as in they don't run on behalf of a party, but run independently? I mean, well, I hope they're getting very paid. I hope they're getting paid very well. Otherwise, I would never do propaganda for the empire. Is your soul? How much money is your soul worth? Like, for how much money are you going to provide cover for killing everything that moves? Have you seen Afghanistan, Iraq? That's what the U.S. wants for Belarus. So, yeah. I don't know what level of depravity you need to willingly do that.
All 110 seats went to pro-government legislators.
No, all 110 seats did not. As we checked, apparently 16 were from party officials, and 94 were non-partisans, as in they did not come from any party. Okay. And also, it's really funny is that most people don't know what the biggest opposition party is in Belarus. Hint, hint. It's not. I'll give you one hint. It's really super easy. Just check what the biggest opposition. It's not a surprise. Like, that's what they don't realize is that liberals will like the biggest. See, Коммунистическая партия Беларуси. That's the biggest opposition party. Okay. No, it's more like, yeah. Okay, I love it. Can somebody tweet me this theory of State Department glows? That is a great theory, and I want to read it like in a coherent. Like, can you guys maybe put it up on a Medium or a Pastebin, because it sounds like a good theory.
Which just shows how much people love Alexander Lukashenko.
Interesting. Yeah, the classic 101% of the vote tactic.
Yeah. Except he always seems to get exactly 80% of the vote. Or
let's check if this is even true. Okay, let's look at the 2010. Okay, 2010, he got 79%. The opposition, supported by the National Endowment for something, got like something Whereas, let's see, 2015, he got 84%, which is different. Oh my God. Because the opposition candidate was like the worst person like on earth. Like she wanted to do like a Maidan for Belarus, and they're like, screw that, no Maidan. Yeah. Okay, so opposition parties are allowed to exist, but they suck so badly because they're lazy nationalists, according to the State Department. Which guy? Vaush or Dylan? Who can't be the worst person on earth? You'll see. Oh my God. Okay, we are. Okay. Okay.
Around that number, it's quite bizarre. But yeah, in 2019 there was parliamentary elections and not a single opposition candidate won.
That's a lie. What is opposition? Like opposition is not even well defined. So what is the opposition opposing? Like, and if did they like come out with an anti old people having ambulances stance, like what's her name, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. If they came up with having an anti-ambulance stance like Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, oh, thank you. Stay longer. It's Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. Well, you understand why they didn't get too many seats.
And there's only been one term since 2004 where opposition candidates even held a seat, had a MP in the House. Mm-hmm. So you can see how this is.
Okay, so suppose that, I don't know which parties he thinks is opposition, but hypothetically, suppose that you lose 1/4 of your population to Adolf Hitler, and then the opposition candidate is flaming Nazi flags around. Are you going to be a pro-opposition or anti-opposition? Yeah, I mean, it just, and literally, I don't think people understand what U.S. imperialism is. Just look at Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, before and after. Just take a picture, and if one guy is being supported, if you're in the third world country, or by third world, I mean underdeveloped, backwards, non-imperial, imperialized, whatever it is, exploited country, and if you have a candidate who's supported by the NED and who's not, you are picking lesser evil, no NED, because you kind of like having water. Oh, Bolivia, you don't want your water privatized. And yeah, even the rain. Like, it's just that they do not understand how big the monster is. Like, because you live in the belly of the beast, you'll never understand how beastly the beast really is. So, like, everyone in Belarus has seen Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Serbia. Mike Preisner, I had him on the podcast. Check it out. It's called, the episode's called "Look at Venezuela." We'll send out the link later. Yeah. So when they look at that, they're not. Oh, Ukraine! Oh my God! Like, next door, there's Ukraine, where people are starving and people in Ukraine are food insecure. And then right across next door, there's Latvia and Lithuania, where basically in Latvia, not Latvia, I'm so sorry. I've interviewed a Jewish Lithuanian man who was persecuted in Lithuania for taking down a Nazi statue, Stanislav Tomas. check that out. It's on this channel, and I was shocked by what they did to him. Anyways, in Lithuania, it's basically one family, which is the Landbergis family, who are Baltic Germans. And yeah, it's just as bad as it sounds. Yeah, so Lithuania, check the poverty rates, the life, everything's horrendous because they have this like gang in charge of the country. So when you look at those countries and you are in Belarus, you don't ever want to allow the US to come back and destroy everything. So, like, that's all I have to say.
Is hilariously, just very obviously, a dictatorship. I'll send you the evidence. This is actually from 2019. This is a video that's been shared around a lot that shows vote stuffing that happened during the 2019 election. Now, this person questions, they're speaking in Russian, so
God.
you can't
Я говорю по-русски.
really like understand what they're saying.
Я понимаю. Нет, я помню все. Нет, я не помню все. Wait, one is remember. Yeah. Я понял очень хорошо я русский язык. Okay, this is probably bad grammar, and I really hope no one. Oh God. Okay.
But basically, he goes to this woman who.
I believe он не говорит по-русски, потому что он разговаривал его как по-русски opinion. Okay.
Holds a ton of ballots, and he's like, "What are you doing with that? What are you doing with that?" She doesn't answer. She turns away and walks away after stepping out of the voting booth. And,
Says no and walks away.
Yeah. When somebody questions whether you're committing like a horrific crime against democracy, you just turn around and walk away.
Horrific crime against democracy.
Just pretend it isn't happening. And this person who questioned it,
okay,
the head of
okay. Can somebody? Okay, it says Brestski Восточный округ 3 участок 3. Okay, спасибо. Мнение. Okay, потому что у него есть мнение. Okay, so okay. Can somebody look as it says figure out if the flag on that channel? Okay, let's just watch this video, and one of us can understand Ruski Yazik.
CEC, which is the Central Election Commission.
Oh, he's gonna talk through this video. Okay. Oh God. Okay, so it's in Brestski. That's where the Brest-Litovsk Treaty happened that helped form the Soviet Union. Okay, hold on. It's hard for me to type in Russian without looking at the keyboard. How do I figure this out? I can't figure out this channel. Okay, what does it say? Can somebody? Okay, it says is Bresta. November 13th, 2019. Okay. I'm gonna try. The E is what does me. Okay. Okay, I think this is it. Is this it? Like, just make sure. Yes, I found it. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, this is so funny. Okay, let me show you the logo for the channel. Okay. Lol. Okay. So, can you see this channel? Okay, let's. Okay. I don't know what she was doing, but some guy asked her, "So, where'd you get these ballots from? From where did you get this from? Blah blah blah." So, and it doesn't even look like she had enough, and I don't even know if she was paid by the National Endowment for Democracy. Oh yeah. Yep, we've done 2 episodes, one with Brian Berlectic and one with Angelo Giuliano, where we talk about the NED a lot. Brian's really good with the NED stuff, so check out his channel, The New Atlas. Okay, so let's continue. This sounds like nonsense.
Belarus actually called for this observer to have their accreditation removed, who, by the way, was banned from Europe in 2006 due to helping. Conveniently, was banned from Europe in 2006 because they were said to have participated in election fraud. This person then had their accreditation removed shortly after for being truthful about what was happening in Belarus.
What? None of this makes sense. Okay, it doesn't even matter because those are look like 20 ballots that can't statistically swing an election, so it really doesn't matter, but whatever.
Right. Now, I understand, of course, that proving allegations of vote stuffing and of election fraud, this is actually quite a complicated thing. So when you say that he's a cheater, I assume this is well corroborated and generally agreed upon. This isn't like some shaky, report by some American advisor who has like a geopolitical interest contrary to that of Borisenko. No. This is a fairly.
Wait, did he call him Poroshenko? Did he call Lukashenko Poroshenko? Okay, Poroshenko is the Ukrainian dude. Wow. Okay. I don't care enough to have watched this beforehand, so I'm willing to do research on the fly. And yeah, probably she was, or she may have been a fat. Who knows what she was?
Really well known.
This is something you could basically find. The only people I know who could possibly say it wasn't. For instance, do you know who Ben Norton is by chance?
Did I say Borisenko? What's the actual name of the president?
You mean Alexander Lukashenko? Wait, did you say Borisenko?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Dylan Burns also got his name wrong. What does they call him? Dylan Burns. Okay, somebody needs to clip this so that we can show people why you should not listen to these people. Yeah, they got the name wrong. Poroshenko, and then yeah.
I said Borisenko, Lukashenko, Borisenko.
That's the Boris Lukashenko coalition is going to be strong.
Yeah, why not, right? Maybe he had a really fun rally one time.
Lukashenko is also famously homophobic, and I recently said that NATO would put black-skinned troops inside of Belarus. So,
Okay, no. Oh my God, he's so stupid. Okay, I remember this exact thing. What Lukashenko said is, okay, so in Russia, armies are known by their colors. Reds means the commies. The white army is the Tsar's counter-revolutionary army. Blacks are fascist, like they mean black shirts. And Lukashenko literally said blacks with blonde hair and blue. NATO is going to put blacks with blonde hair and blue eyes. I remember this actually really well. I didn't even know Russian back then, and that looked kind of weird. And then I finally asked a Russian friend, "How do you say?" I remember this so clearly. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I remember here. Okay, this is funny. I have a tweet to prove that even before this was like a few days into me taking Russian class. Look at this. Okay, let's play this video just in case. Нет, потому что я говорю по-русски. Okay, sorry. I like bragging about my newly acquired Russian skills. Okay, I've only been taking it for a short time, but I still like bragging about my newly acquired Russian skills. My only regret is not taking Russian earlier. I should have just taken it when I was in high school and been fluent by now. Although, yeah, don't listen to your parents about practical languages. Don't ever listen to them and have them make you take Spanish. Take whatever language you want to take, even if it's like a language that only 5 people speak. Do not ever listen to your parents about practicality of languages, because it really only matters where a language is only as practical as where you go. So don't listen to your parents. And I know, oh God, I'm projecting, of course, in a half joking manner. Okay, let's look. Lenin. Soldat NATO means NATO soldiers. Okay, and then he's saying blonde and blonde hair. I forgot what he said. And let me see. NATO soldiers, blonde hair, blacks. So anyways, and if you know the history of NATO and Adolf Heusinger, you'll realize that he has a point about the blonde-haired, blue eyes. By blacks, he means fascists, like literally the truth. NATO was started by Adolf Heusinger. Exactly. Just assume that they're going to translate everything in the languages of Russian, Mandarin, Persian, Arabic. Wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't even make sense as to why Lukashenko. Yes, please figure out a way to send it to me. Okay. And the thing is that it doesn't even make sense because black people do not have the same effect inside of Belarus as, say, Germans. Because one group literally killed exterminated thousands of villages, like all over. Like with Belarus, it was so bad that the blood from all the people they killed bled over and tainted the water. So when you turned on the faucets, blood came out. I've tweeted about this. So Nazis with blonde hair, blue eyes is much more frightening. But you see, they're kind of racist themselves. So they are probably projecting their fear. And so Lukashenko didn't say, said blacks, but that means black shirts. Like reds means communist army, and whites means the Tsarist Psycho army. Kolchak, they're called the whites. Yes, in Belarus, the blood came out of the faucets after the Nazis killed. Okay. So in the Eastern campaign, the Nazis did the worst thing. Like they did not have the gas chambers. They literally took bullets, shovels, everything, and went bang, 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 and killed people. And majority of the people killed, 27 million, happened in the Eastern campaign. Western campaign, not even close to 27 million. It was very, very sadistic and cruel. And there was one day where so many people were killed that not one day, like multiple days, like in multiple locations in Belarus, where the blood from the dead bodies would come and pour into the faucet. So when you have that kind of like firsthand memory, some weird American racism is not going to trigger you. So even strategically speaking, Belarusians are much more frightened of NATO and Germans than of anything else. And if you want to find real World War II pictures, what you need to do is search the Great Patriotic War in Russian, which it's called Great Patriotic War. It's Velikaya Отечественная война. Search that, and where do I follow you? I don't understand how to. Okay, John Weiss Spinoza. If you're one of them, if John Weiss Spinoza's here, he'll deal with this. And so search that in Russian, and you will. By the way, trigger warning: it is the worst thing you'll ever see. But if you want to really see how horrible the Nazis were, don't search World War II. Search Velikaya Отечественная война.
Him and Boris have a lot in common, actually.
Okay, yeah, you're selling it pretty. Yeah, you're selling it pretty hard. Okay, so this is a very well agreed upon corrupt dictator.
By whom? By the fascists at NATO? Yeah, basically.
The allegations of vote rigging are well substantiated, and is this now? I have to ask you, because I get into arguments with lefties from time to time, and when I do, I often find myself arguing with somebody who claims to stand for human rights, but argues that the multilateral support of the population in favor of a single party to the absolute exclusion of all other political ideologies is totally okay.
Yes, because each party represents a class. And the more income inequality and more feudal your country is, the starker the division between the classes are. So, like in Tsarist Russia, there was probably like less than a handful of like 10,000, maybe, God knows, just a handful of wealthy people, and everyone was a literal slave. And if you tell everyone who's a literal slave, yo, we're going to shoot that jackass who is raping your daughter on her wedding day, people are going to be like, yay. And that's so basically, if you have whether or not you'll have one party consolidating will really depend on how divided your population is. So if it's a country like Brazil, it's unlikely to happen because there's a big middle area. But if it is a country like any really poor country, Bangladesh, the minute you let them have real democracy, it will always go like this. So it literally has to depend on the class structure of each society on whether or not one party will consolidate or whether or not you'll have a multi-party. Multi-party just means you have a bigger middle class and fewer extremes. And if you had read Lenin, you would have known this already, like I do. So everything I know from Lenin.
As long as you're opposing American interests. I know, of course, that Belarus is generally aligned with Russia. Russia, not so much with the United States of America.
It's complicated.
I assume, is this a country that tankies would defend?
Yes, because tankies defend all countries against U.S. imperialism. Well, welcome, Patrick Maynard. I love having you here. Interact a lot. And remember, I'm kind of all over the place. Yes, because tankies understand the threat of U.S. imperialism. And if you don't, just search Iraq. I actually wrote an article about Iraq, so let me just share that too. So if you don't understand the threat of U.S. imperialism, literally, you're just like saying that you don't we're sleeping for the past 20 years. Afghanistan, like that is what they're going to turn it into. The only reason they don't turn every country into that is because they can't. But if they could, they would. Okay.
Generally.
It depends, because Lukashenko is very big about preserving the Soviet legacy. Mm-hmm. Extremely large on this. If you look at the iconography, in the 2015, the 1995 referendum I was talking about earlier, there was also ballot, which the legislature said they couldn't do, but he did it anyway. Basically, he put something on it saying, like, do you want to change the flag of Belarus to this? And another thing was changing the coat of arms. And
okay, let's just look at the flag and coat of arms. Jesus Christ. I feel like I go through this every single week. Jesus. Like I'm bored of like this is literally like why can't liberals just Google Belarus flag? Oh my God. Oh, I mean, I'm really irritated that I have to actually okay, found it. Jesus. I'm like kind of annoyed that I have to do this every single week. We have to show people what the flag of Belarus was and what it was not. Okay. See this? The coat of arms is this thing that is equidistant from the swastika. See that? Coat of arms. Notice how it forms an isosceles triangle with the two swastikas. That's the coat of arms that the pro-Clinton people put in. And notice the red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red stripes in this hall where they have two swastikas that's equidistant from the coat of arms. And if you read the book Belarus Secrets, you will understand the SS, the Belarus is. Let me just get that excerpt. Yeah. So anytime somebody has a flag on, always look for flag World War 1941, and if the flag is from 1941. It's definitely not the. Okay. And in fact, these Belarusian fascist collaborators were so bad that there were over like 500 reports by the Gestapo about how they're kind of over the top. So, and I found it here. Oh, you found it. Okay, just Google flags. Okay. So you see, he wielded through a police force garbed in black SS type uniform, which then helps make sense why Belarus, why Lukashenko would say that red, white, red on their armband. Anyways, this is a really good question. But unfortunately, if I explain this, what's going to happen is we're going to derail the conversation because this is a really long topic. But I am a democratic person in some respect, so I'm going to put a poll on what you guys want to talk about, whether you want to talk about this or continue with Vaush and Dylan Burns. Okay, so now, yeah, so let's see. There are some things that I allow for a lot of democracy, like what topics we're going to talk about. Oh, I have that video of Stalin's, but I don't have it subtitled, unfortunately. I'll get it subtitled. No, it's not. Oh, no, it's up to you guys because it's I mean, I'd rather be waterboarded than like listen to Vaush, but that's another story. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I saw your Twitter upcon. Okay, fine. Hold on. Let's see. Can you just make sure that tweet is on top? Which one is it? I can't see your tweet. Yeah. Okay, so I followed you, so send me the image. Okay, so let's check. So how many? I mean, how long? Okay, I'm gonna leave this poll on till 1852. Vote now or forever hold your peace. Yes, I just followed you, so you can send it via DM. Okay, so vote now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, because this really sucks. They're really bad. I mean, I hope that, like, did this algorithm pick anything up? Did he troll me? Niet. He did not troll me. No. So let's see. Okay. Okay. Let's do it then. Okay. So the question that somebody asked is, why is there so much fascism in Central and Eastern Europe? Well, the first thing you have to understand is, what is fascism? So let me just share my own article that I'm proud of. Here is the article. Read this, and you're going to. Okay, so the quick answer is, fascism looks a lot like Reaganomics, identical. Okay, so the Hitler rolled back the benefits. They privatized everything. They deregulated. Yeah, fascism looks exactly like Reaganomics. In fact, Gaddafi called Reagan a second Hitler, and Bernie once jokingly or half jokingly said Ronald Reagan, fascist president of the U.S. So yeah, that's why they don't teach you too much about the economics of fascism, because it starts looking way too familiar and it makes them way too uncomfortable for you to know what exactly fascism looks like. So once you understand that fascism is meant to preserve either the existing hierarchy or the previous hierarchy at any cost, then you will understand that because oh, he did? Okay, send me that lecture. Okay, okay. So it is to preserve that hierarchy at any means necessary. Like, nothing is too depraved, not even the Holocaust. So that is generally what fascism is. And fascism happens okay, so remember how Marx theorized that if you let capitalism run for enough cycles, it's going to, like, you're going to have like a really small number of rich people and a lot of poor people. And eventually, if it goes through enough cycles, the people here will get together and overthrow these jackasses. So there was a crisis of capitalism during World War I. Lenin actually, I love that book. Okay. Lenin actually mentions this. Like, in the US history classes, they're very vague about why World War I was fought. They're like, oh, Germany, Zimmerman telegram, some U-boat. And then Lenin just explains it in one sentence, and you understand. It's a fight between the imperial robbers in Britain and imperial robbers in Germany, where they get to decide who's going to rob Turkey of their oil. And yeah, Lenin's, that's essentially World War I. So during that time, the reason why the Bolsheviks had their revolution is actually kind of simple. Wait, military build up to what? Why were they building their military? Okay. So slavery is, I know I've said this before, and I apologize if this is like a repeat, and you guys are bored of me saying this, but slavery is a very unstable institution. So you need just the right amount of slave catchers or mercs or whatever, And if you have too many slaves and not enough slave catchers, the slaves are going to overthrow everyone and you're going to get the Russia situation. If you have too many slave catchers, what's going to happen is that the slave catchers are going to be like, why the bleep do I need this czar? Why can't I get the gravy train? And then they're going to overthrow him and take over. And that's basically every bourgeoisie democracy, literally. So you always have to be really, really obsessed about ratios because most people don't want to be enslaved. Well, because the Tsar committed troops to World War I, far too many Cossacks were kind of busy, tied up, and they couldn't quell the rebellions. So that's kind of essentially why the Russian Revolution happened. Of course, there was a lot of but they were able to organize like a big enough army of the people to overthrow the Tsar's army ultimately. And but that's basically what happened. So there are two things that we need to understand at this point. In 1917, when that happened, when people saw the Bolsheviks like just go boom and check out, capitalism came very close to collapsing worldwide. In Bulgaria, there were these soldier revolts where the soldiers just went whoosh, bang, 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 where they turned their guns against their own bourgeoisie. In Hungary, in fact, that's what led to the collapse of the Austria-Hungarian Empire, is that they had too many Yugoslavian soldiers, and the Yugoslavian soldiers were like Croatians and whatever. They were just like, yeah, I'm not dying for that jackass. And they just literally checked out and walked back home. That caused the collapse of the Austria-Hungarian Empire. Well, now, if you want to know the real reason why the U.S. came into World War I at that point, is like they literally came right after the Tsar abdicated. Because they knew that if they let nature take its course, there are going to be a lot of Soviet republics all over Europe. The German Empire, there was going to be like the Bela Kun and the Lenin boys in Hungary and all this stuff. So that's why the U.S. entry kind of coincides right when the Tsar abdicated. So that's why the U.S. came into World War I, because they wanted to preserve capitalism and imperialism. The U.S., I call this FUCUS, France, UK, U.S. alliance, FUCUS, or FRECUS. I don't know who Arpam Dutt is. Okay, I forgot. Oh yeah, we were talking about fascism. Okay, so the U.S. Came in, and the first thing. Oh, by the way, check out our episode about the Lenin plot, so you kind of understand how they tried to. That is the worst. It was like totally psycho. They're like, oh, let's just like do a coup, and it's like, and then they laundered money. Stalina. And of course, right wingers say it was Hitler because they're right wingers who support Hitler and are frightened of Stalin. But we know what freed India. Stalina. Well, mostly the collapse. Long story, but it was World War II. So to be accurate, it was the British having too many colonies and not also being able to keep their like they actually had to bring too many because the reason why the British opposed the Germans during World War II is because they were competition. So they actually had to pull off their troops in order to fight the Germans, and that's essentially what happened. So it's not, but whatever. I mean, if they weren't scared of Stalin, they would not have done that, and they would whatever. So, long story short. So we were talking about World War I. So the U.S. comes in. Check out this episode. Barnes has a really good narrated voice. And so the U.S. comes in, and all these empires, all these the U.S. the Fracas Alliance kind of wanted to preserve capitalism, for lack of a better word, and they did so. The first thing they did when they saw the Bolsheviks after the October Revolution, they were scared shitless. So the first thing they did was they picked their own set of Guaidos. Kolchak, Baron Mannerheim, Denikin, Pilsudski, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody else. I'm sure I'm sorry. Yeah. But what it was that Tsarist Russia is really big. It was like Finland didn't exist, neither did Poland. They were all part of Tsarist Russia. So when the first thing they'll do is, this is like a standard formula. So the first thing they'll do is regime change outright, like they did with the plot to assassinate Lenin. When that fails, the next step is balkanization, because they want to like eat up as much land as possible for capitalism. So the second step is balkanization, and then the third step is, God, you don't want to know. So they armed Kolchak to like have a fake republic in Siberia. Deniskin somewhere in this like Ukraine, Lithuania, Poland area. Pilsudski in the Poland, little bit Belarus, Poland area. Mannerheim in the Finland area. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, so with Kolchak, he was like so disgusting. He literally cut off people's feet and let them like freeze to death because they were poor people who asked for their like. It's like, and this is the time where you should probably trigger warning, Google Soviet skin in Finland, and that's like literally the worst thing I've ever come across, even today. They were cruel. So at that point, the Bolsheviks were like, okay, we're gonna have to cut our losses. So they let Finland form and they let go of Poland, but then they doubled down on Ukraine and Siberia. So in the end, around 1919, Pilsudski with yes, yeah. I need to use the phone. Okay, no worries. No worries. Okay. No worries. That's my roommate. He's from Chile and he's gay. He's really cool. So Pilsudski, what was I saying? Pilsudski. Yeah. Okay. Pilsudski was armed exclusively by the French, and he was the bourgeoisie. This is Lenin, yes. He was the bourgeoisie, like he had a white army, as in an army of like czarist people, bourgeoisie, terrible people, landlords, all that, Marx. and then the Allies made a treaty, and they ended up recognizing Poland. So what you realize is that all of Europe was having a starvation, but the Fracas Alliance was like, oh, Poland's preserving capitalism. Okay, let's give some food to Poland. Finland's preserving capitalism. Let's give food to Finland. Russia's not. Bad Russia, bad Russia. No food, let them starve, is basically what the US did. Fracas, sorry, not just the US, but France, US, UK. So now, in the end, yes, 14 countries did invade during the Civil War, but in the end, the Bolsheviks won. Well, not quite. This is more complicated. Just wait. Oh, by the way, when Pilsudski created Poland, he had to do this really extensive campaign of Polification. That means you exterminate everyone who is not Polish. So they had, in 1918, they had lots and lots of pogroms, lots and lots of genocide, or ethnic cleansing, not genocide, maybe. I don't know. And then, sorry. Let me see. I've definitely tweeted out about this. Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So Morgenthau, who was the U.S. Secretary of State, so he went to Poland. He saw the I can't find the tweet. Okay, if you can find it. Okay. So basically, Morgenthau went to Poland, and he literally saw these mass extermination camps going on. But he literally said, what's going on? I don't see anything. What a psych. Yeah, literally, they're like, I don't see anything. Psych. And then they allow a lot of extermination to happen. So anytime they're like Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, it's because they want to highlight the existence of Poland, or Poland's quote unquote right to exist. Found it. Okay. Okay, so this is a New York Times article. Oops. Okay, here, let's read this. Plight of Poland's Jews described. 1920. Okay, one of the commissioners of the blah, blah, blah. Okay, in the early article, okay, describing the condition, Mr. Kamiaki said that so far the Jews were concerned they were so terrible that the Polish government had decreed so many restrictions that it was impossible for them to earn a livelihood in a legal manner. We have made arrangements with the... Okay. So explains that dancing at camp formerly used for war prisoner was at the disposal of immigrants with 2,500. As profiteer land. Okay, the main bureau in Warsaw, but we is the utmost important. The war, charity work is absolutely okay. The Polish Jews cannot remain there because they're being persecuted. No, I got it. I just haven't had time to check this. What article? Oh, sure. I can try. Okay. I can. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Then do you see this? Can you still see this? Jews massacred by Pole. Louis Marshall in, again, New York Times, Paris, preparing detailed report to submit to president. Returning to the French capital to plead for more territory. Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah. Company at Paris did not receive a report of new atrocities against Jews in Poland. According to 2 dispatches received, Polish soldiers recently returned the Hitler army among those killing and robbing the Jews. 1919, Poland. Only which had gone. Pinsk. They actually exterminated. Oh my God! Yeah, he was in Pinsk shortly before the Passover, with the full consent of the Polish military authorities, armed by France, of course. Authorities appointed Jews to aid in the work of distribution and see that every. Okay, so then. Making up family allotting floor. At 6 o'clock, a squad of 15 commanded by marched into the hall and declared all the Jews were under arrest. There was no resistance. Not a single Jew was armed. All were marched to the public marketplace. Yikes! And massacred, all of them. Okay, so and yeah, holy God. Okay, yeah, and this is one of many. Let me try to figure out how to send this. The link, give me, I'll be able to tweet it out right now. For some odd reason, I can't get the link to this, but I'll send you the link to the entire folder of my research. Oh, I forgot. Okay, oopsie daisy. Okay, so see, this is a good book to read on the anti-Jewish violence in Poland. Yes. Здравствуйте, Max. I thought you were gonna come and hang out with me yesterday. Because you said you were coming on 26th, whatever. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, it was horrific. I've lost my train of thought about Poland. Fascism. How fascism? Okay. So now, remember, the video is remember, not the video. I'm so sorry. So remember that the purpose of a state is to oppress one class over another. So when you have a stark contrast, such a stark contrast, the only way they can actually get the capitalists to win is literally by doing the Jakarta method, or kill everything that moves. So essentially, the reason why there are a lot of fascists in Eastern Europe and Central Europe is essentially because it was a deeply unequal society with the few, and the U.S. fuck us, sorry, not just the US, but fuck us back. At one point, it was fuck us good with Germany too, but Germany's kind of a little bit doesn't do it so overtly anymore. But it's because they kept on arming these people. Like imagine what happened in Afghanistan when you armed these like psychos with billions of dollars of weapons that can do everything. So that's essentially what happened. And so, yeah, it's because of imperialism, more or less, is why there are so many fascists there. Because when your country is in the imperial core, you're going to create a little bit of a buffer by elevating your working class so that they can be used as marks to go kill everything that moves. And in order to do that, you need to be able to feed them your ideology, which is like nonsense. And the only way you can do that is that you have to create a reality for them that makes where your nonsense makes sense. And that's essentially how they create the labor aristocracy. Okay, so because the reason why those countries have a lot of fascism is because they had a lot of inequality combined with poverty and not enough imperialism to create a labor aristocracy. And if you have a labor aristocracy, you can have a bourgeoisie democracy for like a little while, but then it'll always derail itself at the end. I hope did that answer the question? Yes. I hope that answered the question to whoever asked this question. I can go back to oh God. Okay. I will spend another 50. Okay. I'll spend a little bit more time doing the Vaush Dylan Burns clip now, as I've answered this question. Weird, it's not loading. Okay, for those who missed it, this is really hilarious.
I was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow, so thank you for coming on. Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow, so thank you for coming on. Was interested in talking about this with you because you are a big brain fellow, so thank you.
The problem is that I'm going to win and he's going to get hurt that a woman beat him, and then he's going to send his fans to send me death threats. And I don't like having the death threats, so that's generally and then rape threats too. When you beat another YouTuber, you also get rape threats too. So yeah, but Jackson can do it. Like he's yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's why I don't really want to debate because yeah, basically what happens is that like they're masculine. It threatens their masculinity, and then they get vicious. So I can't. And I don't ever want to threaten. Well, it happened with this. Actually, let's not talk about this. I don't want to trigger any algorithms. I'm scared. Okay, so let's not with Ben. I mean, Ben. It was not Ben who did it. Oh Lord.
He recently during the protests, one of his responses to it was carrying an AK-47 with him. He'll literally go to other world leaders and reporters and just brag about being a dictator. I forget the quote, but he's like, "Hey, how does it feel? You're standing with the last dictator of Europe."
Okay, not quite. Oh God. Okay, that we did. I feel like I am repeating. I am repeating everything I said at the John Oliver video. But that was because in 2012, a Reuters journalist asked a dumb question, and he said, "From whose perspective?" Like he's like, "Yeah, and that's what NATO calls me, dictator in Europe." But ha ha ha! Look at where NATO came from. So yeah. So sure, he did kind of do that, but not exactly.
Something along those lines.
Classic,
right? Like it's very like just being very evident about who he is. He knows what he is, but of course, then when it comes to no, it's all a joke, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let me tell you about some things that I think have compounded the situation, because it's if it was just another version of election fraud, then it's why did this one stand out? Is because recently he's been not doing great because he's been managing the economy badly, and he has been the worst possible person on COVID. He's worse than Trump on COVID. And
это неправда. Let's look at COVID deaths. And guess what's going to happen? Belarus has had only 4,000 deaths. US has had, Holy Mother of God, 52 million cases, and Holy Mother of God, US has had absolutely more cases and deaths than India. This is wow. Okay. Wow. US is doing extra badly. Okay, so no, Belarus has only had 4,000 deaths. They have about like 8 million, maybe 10 million people. I don't know. So it seems like they're not doing that badly. So that's not true. And also, if you look at the opposition's platform, they are, it's really funny. And I feel like I hate having to repeat everything. Like, I feel like I'm doing a repeat of everything I said. Okay, here is the opposition's platform. And this is what they want to do. So let's look at their health. Where is it? Health reforms. Let's see. They're anti-ambulance. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Where is their dumb health thing? Okay. Okay. Okay, there is a Soviet healthcare system in Belarus with a large number of hospitals. They are designed to quickly isolate and treat large number of patients with infectious diseases. This sounds like it is the ideal infrastructure for fighting a COVID infection, right? Okay, reorientation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the main is to include reducing the excessive hospital beds. Now, if you understand why they only got like 5 votes, when you say there are too many hospital beds in the country, yeah, okay. Okay. Let's see. Overcrowding in clinics and excess of ambulance. There are way too many ambulances. So, yeah, I don't know, like when somebody's like, oh, you guys have too many ambulances and too many hospital beds that are empty, that's going to trigger red flags that will make me not want to vote for that person who's like saying, oh, Belarus has too many hospitals. We need to get rid of the hospitals and have like fewer ambulances so more people can die. Yeah, it's a sicko. Anyways, that's, so he's not that bad.
I mean that 100%.
Wow, authoritarians who act as strongmen for their countries don't do a good job addressing a pandemic. Really?
Like I said, they have. Let's just compare COVID deaths to then the NATO, Ukraine, and Belarus is always a good one. Okay. Holy God. Holy Mother of God. Okay. Wow. Okay. Holy. Give me 1 second. I'm so shocked by this Ukrainian figure that I'm. Okay. Let's. Let me share this. This is Belarus. 4,100 deaths. let's just Google Belarus. Let me Google Belarus population. I think it's about 10 million, but I could be wrong. Ukraine has about 40 million, but even then, you'll see I think Ukraine has about 40 million, maybe. 9.47 million. I was right. Okay. So divide 4,000 by 9 million. Are you guys ready for Ukraine? 2.5 million cases and 59,000 deaths. So 4,000 divided by 9 million is 0.0004, like 3 zeros and a 4. 59,000. Look at the number of cases. Holy God. Divided by about Ukraine's population is about 40 million, I think. Let me just double check. Yes, I was exactly 41 million. Okay. Wow, I'm impressed how well I know about Ukraine's population. 59,000. Okay, so that's like a huge order, like 10 to the power of 10 bigger than Belarus. Okay, so they're wrong there too. See, and the thing is, I don't even get it. Like, it's not even this hard to look these up. Like I just don't understand why you would not look this up. Like, it just confuses me. Like, how does he believe? Like, this literally how well they're handling COVID is easy to look up 2 Google searches, and they can't.
Really?
Well, basically, can I read you the direct quote of what he said in a hockey rink while he was playing?
Oh, God. Okay, so what he said was it's the mistranslation of airborne epidemics. Oh, sorry, airborne ways people get sick. Oh God, yeah, I did this in the John Oliver clip. Literally that they mistranslate like what he means about airborne diseases versus the word fly.
Hockey during the pandemic.
Please.
Let's see if I can find it.
Actually, let me just play you that clip. Except I won't. Oh, fuck, who cares? Okay, so what he says is that there are no viruses here or something to that effect, as in there are no. Okay, I found it. Okay, this is so stupid. Yeah, okay. Я тоже не вижу is you also don't see it here. Not this is a fridge, but whatever. He never said fridge. Let's try this again. There is no virus here. Have you noticed anyone getting? I don't know. Hold on. Let me figure this out. Не летают. Oh yes, he did say it's not flying around, as in it's not contagious because we have taken the proper quarantine procedures. Yeah, летают. Yeah, okay. Okay, so it's very cold here. Halogenic. It's like a fridge. Sport, particularly. Yeah, this part's right. Yeah. So it is out of context translation is what I would say. Not completely wrong, but really out of context. So they take the word letayut in a different, yeah. And like I said, I barely know Russian, and I can tell this is like an out of context translation because it sounds crazy.
Okay. So basically, Belarus is one country in Europe basically has no restrictions now, 0.
China doesn't either. A lot of countries don't because they quarantined.
And this is the response he gave when a reporter asked him about it. There's a lot of direct support for protesters, and like a helicopter, and like went over the city, like
a boomer, you know. I've talked about this before, but one of the reasons I think why COVID-19 has proved such a difficult project for strongmen around the world is because dealing with a pandemic involves sort of recognizing the overwhelming power of nature and taking conciliatory measures to scale back your strength and your control over society.
I wouldn't even, it's kind of 7 with him in his hand. It's purposefully so reporters would see it as kind of like and I read it as a threat personally. I don't think he's just carrying it for a hockey rink. While he was playing hockey during, it's a threat directly at a certain, protesters. Like, hey,
we've taken.
Wait, okay. Oh boy. Like literally okay, you know what's really, John Oliver literally made the same exact argument. Oh god. I feel like okay. So basically, you'll see that he is not having the, just look at this picture. Okay, I don't see any protesters. I only see army people. And the protesters are not very peaceful either, but just out of context. Yeah, strongman, authoritarian. Yeah, shut up, Yankee. Needs to come back. Okay.
Measures against COVID. I've doubled my security.
We shoot at the air. We shoot at the COVID. But
no, I mean, if the opposition is running on an anti-ambulance stance, yeah. Well, yeah, basically.
He also like went in like a helicopter and like went over the city. Like, I don't see no protesters down there. Guess they're scared. And he's just in the part of the city where there isn't.
No. It's even worse. John Oliver watched this. This one was first.
Protesters. He's very like macho man kind of dictator. He's always kind of been like that.
That sounds like a take like straight out of like a conservative YouTube today. You know what I mean? You can see that like from Tim Pool or something like that. You know what I mean?
I would say that he definitely is. I feel like if he was a YouTuber, he'd be ranting about soy at the moment.
What? Good thing he's the president and not a YouTuber.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. We're going to be hearing about soy for decades. It's actually a wonder that none of these dipshits have like banned soy from their countries yet as some sort of performative gesture against the feminization of men.
They're Soviets don't have to worry about not seeming manly because they literally had 4 people take down like 400 Nazis. Like what's his name? Yakov Pavlov. So like this is literally not something that they actually even consider in their minds. And it's a different culture, different religion, different language, just the same kind of gender roles don't exist. Like everything's different. So it's not the same as the West.
Actually, that's an interesting story when it comes to dairy products and Belarus. And this actually gets into some geopolitics about Belarus and why this is so a complicated issue and why you're not going to fly from Mike Pompeo and others. You might actually not see a lot of direct support for protesters or any sanctions placed.
What are you talking about? Jesus Christ. There was a really funny NED video that was leaked where these two Ukrainian teenagers will go into the NED video and say how this like anti-Nazi law is going to make it hard for the pro democracy protesters. And wait, so no, literally, they would not exist. There would be no opposition if the U.S. didn't arm it. As for sanctions, just Google Belarus sanctions. There are like thousands of, like hundreds, if not thousands of sanctions against Belarus. So they're wrong on both counts.
On Lukashenko himself.
Okay, interesting. Continue.
Lukashenko might be dumb when it comes to biology, math, basically everything, but he's really smart when it comes to one thing, and that's geopolitics.
Actually, that's actually correct. He is not like, okay, yeah, he should not. He's the worst public speaker ever. Like, Putin does not give sound bites for the West to mischaracterize, but Lukashenko really always does this. So he just needs to get some better PR training. But yeah, he's not bad at geopolitics. That's honest.
In fact, I'd say he has maneuvered himself into being a modern, I wouldn't even, it's kind of almost insulting to Tito to say this, but he's maneuvered himself into a Tito-like position between the West and Russia.
I am insulted. How dare you compare him to Tito? If only he was more like Tito. He would have if he was more like Tito, he would have put all the opposition protesters in a mine shaft and closed the door. Like that's what Tito did with the fascists. So yeah, he would have. I wish he were more like Tito, so that all the fascists were like dropped down a mine shaft.
While the Belarusian economy is extremely reliant on Russian imports and exports, they get around 50% of their imports from Russia, and they export 50% of their products to Russia. They also want to make sure not to be too reliant on Russia. Lukashenko is extremely concentrated on keeping his own power, and they do not want to become another Odessa, another Crimea. They don't want to be slowly annexed by Putin and Russia.
Oh God. That's not what happened, and Odessa is just fine. What the hell are not? I mean, Odessa is not just fine, but Odessa is not annexed. But oh God, this Crimea thing is nonsense. What's Barbara Pitt too? I don't know. Okay.
There was even a time there was talks at one point about this union that would kind of be like where they would have a similar.
But since they've done that video, they have formed that union. So this video was done 9 months ago, and since this video, they have Russia and Belarus have definitely formed that union. Yes, the Soviet reunion, inshallah. Actually, so Belarus's economy is just as well as it can without like imperializing. Barbara Pitt is the mine shaft that Tito threw the fascists in. Cool, I did not know that.
Then he might move towards the other direction and kind of bounce off the Europeans. Recently, there's been a lot of problems when it comes to this concept where the Russians no longer want to subsidize Belarus with oil, which they're very, their economy is extremely reliant on the gas sector and like.
Okay, The reason why the Belarusian economy is very reliant on Russian gas as opposed to, say, Saudi gas is because of sanctions, you bloody idiot. Jesus Christ, they're so dumb. Okay. Because of the sanctions, only Russia has enough nukes that they can risk sending oil to Belarus, and that's why they are so dependent on Russian oil. Jesus, or gas, or both, or whatever.
I forget the exact terms for it, but basically they are the gas sector is extremely important to Belarus, and there's been some problems with it, but that's the strategy he's used to kind of stay in power geopolitically so long, and I will say it's definitely a brilliant strategy.
Do you think that the EU has mishandled their engagement with Belarus?
The EU should not exist. And what the hell? The EU should also not be arming fascists, and the EU should not exist. And
with Lukashenko?
I would say that
I feel like this is such a common story with the weakling, democracy-addled Westerners getting outfoxed by open autocracy.
Democracy-addled Westerners. The EU literally has anti-democratic clauses that force privatization despite the will of the people. Have you not read the EU Constitution? Have you not read what a common market is? What kind of like brain mush is this? The EU is literally the worst. Yeah. What the hell? Yeah, and then they take away monetary sovereignty. It's a one-way track to hell. So this is really the most brain-addled thing I've ever seen. By the way, please donate, subscribe. Also troll Vaush with this clip so that he can respond, so that I can get a signal boost. Troll Dylan Burns, make him respond to me or whatever. Well, inshallah.
Democrats. I don't know how much of that is a narrative and how much of that is genuinely.
Also, the same people that the same armies that you call the EU kind of did the entire World War II and the Holocaust and all that, and so they've responded pretty graphic, disgustingly, but whatever.
A thing to be concerned over, but it sounds to me like the EU.
Oh yeah, Google Walter Hallerstein and his letter to Hitler and the EU history, and it's kind of like Adolf Heusinger too.
Should have never been in a position to believe they could deal with him in good faith, you know?
Well, the thing is,
Does the European Union deal with anyone in good faith? What the hell are wrong with these brain-addled people?
Union kind of doesn't want Belarus.
Okay, so let's just quickly talk about how bad faith European Union is. Lithuania, which is literally having ceremonies to Nazis and having like the SS. They're literally, the president of Lithuania is literally like saluting the Baltic SS divisions. On top of it, Lithuania is owned by like one entire family, the Baltic German family of the Landberges. But somehow, and then all the media is controlled by them, and then like people get like forced disappeared. And when one lady reported this, like congressman who raped her daughter, both her and the daughter got disappeared. So yeah, Lithuania is part of the EU. Latvia, Estonia, all of them are super fascist to the point where they literally hail the Baltic SS. They're in the EU. So, Poland too, but it's a different brand of fascism because Poland has a bigger population. But, yeah. So that itself is bad faith. Also, Walter Hallerstein, I hate the EU. Okay.
to get close. Secretary Pompeo has actually made proposals now because Russia's dealings with natural gases have not been going well recently, to the point where where Lukashenko actually threatened to just steal Russia's oil. That
Wow. That's also not true, but this is like neither here nor there. Like Russia and Belarus are like brothers. Like it's a difference with brothers fighting versus the enemy, and it's not. It's I don't have enough patience.
because they actually have Romania had to go through. So Hungary and the rest of them. So I think with that ending due to increased sanctions on Russia, we'd love to maybe help you out there. And this thing is, if the European Union was just completely cut off Lukashenko, then what they see is they would push Lukashenko into the arms of Russia and then make him extremely tied only further, and then kind of lose any hope of possibly making progress in that area.
Regime change, you mean? Oh my god. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yes, swastika was I've tweeted about this too. Yes, Latvian Supreme Court did rule that the swastika was a historical heritage and not hate. Lithuania, not Latvia.
And then Russia's in the position where if he pushed them too hard, then maybe Lukashenko could just make a 180 and go to the Europeans.
This reminds me of Tito.
That's what I told you about. It
really.
The shift would continue slowly in Europe's favor. And what you've seen from a lot of European leaders is they basically said, you know what, let's drop all this, let's just play some realpolitik for a second. And they've basically been trying to engage with him more and more.
Not really. Lithuania has been funding some coups, and all the Nazis are hiding out in Lithuania. Poland also, the whole what's that fascist channel? Nexta, that is funded by Poland, and yeah, I mean, come on.
Trying to pull him in that direction. But ever since these protests started,
faith in the American electorate, please ask me again after November, and I will give you my answer then. I'm deferring it.
But you can see how
I can see. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, I can understand how, given all of that, it's entirely possible. By the way, I feel like sometimes the most passionate advocates for human liberty are people who have not yet tasted it. There are people here in America who are willing to sell their freedom to the government if they know that.
What freedom? Seriously, ask yourself the Fifth Avenue corollary. What is it that Joe Biden can do, can get away with, and still not have any consequences? Can he nuke a country? Yes. Literally, there is nothing that he cannot do. So, and this is why you should read Lenin, because Lenin talks about constitutional illusions. Oh my God. This is, wow. This is like watching Bill O'Reilly without the personality.
Black folk will get fucked over twice as hard for it. But there are a lot of people. I mean, you got students, everyone out there in Hong Kong fighting against what they know is going to happen to them.
Is he going to also support the Bolivian fascists and the gusanos in Venezuela and Al-Qaeda?
People in China, people in autocratic regimes all over the world, who I think have sometimes, maybe not for the whole population, but sometimes a much greater appreciation for how bad things can get. And I think under those circumstances, yeah, they'd have a reason to.
Okay. The worst that things can get is when you're under the axe of U.S. imperialism and it's raining bombs on your house. Whew. So people are willing to do anything to stop that. True. Vaush Limbaugh without the personality. Exactly. And the voice. At least Limbaugh's voice is good.
To be angry.
Yeah. I would say from looking at my thing is when it comes to protest movements is there's a lot of it seems to, when it comes to political spectrum, that everybody's a hypocrite when it comes to like supporting protest movements. I'm a conservative. I've loved the Hong Kong protesters. Oh, but these American BLM rioters. Oh,
Okay, I don't support anyone's right to protest unless. Yeah, I actually don't. It really depends on your state and whether or not you're funded by the NED. And also, they're not protesting because they are colluding with a hostile foreign power to overthrow the government. That's treason, and that's not protest. Like, this is already proven stuff. The NED stuff is like literally proven. So when when you collude with a foreign power to overthrow the government, you're not protesting anymore. You are committing treason. And yeah, I mean,
they're ridiculous, right? Or you'll have somebody who's like, well, yeah, I support the BLM protests. They're the best, but those Hong Kong CIA shills need to like get down and kiss the boot.
except they're already kissing the Union Jack boot. What an idiot.
Yeah, the real enlightened position is not liking the Hong Kong protests because they're CIA, and also not liking BLM because it's CIA.
Well, they tried to astroturf a BLM protest in Cuba. So, yeah, I tweeted about it. It was really funny. The Human Rights Watch said this guy died of contact with police. And then I was like, contact with? How do you die of a contact with police? And then I was like, suicide bombing. Anyways, so they did definitely try that. So it would depend on each region. The empire has no shame.
That's the real above it all take.
Yeah, my position has always been I think I do believe in internationalism when it comes to this extent. I believe we should support the protests in Chile, this protest in Iraq.
If it's the U.S. government, absolutely not. I don't know what internationalism is. Oh God.
The protests in Haiti. There's the protests in Sudan when it came to the blue movement in Sudan.
Blue movement. That sounds a little colory. I don't know anything about Sudan, but I just my first red flag detector went on when somebody said blue movement. So what I'm going to do is make a mental note to myself to fact check blue movement in Sudan because that sounds weird.
Of course, the protests in Hong Kong, the protests in America. We should support the protests in Belarus.
No, you should not. They're fascists.
I don't think an imaginary line on a map dictates someone's humanity, and we need.
No, but a real flag and their support and their opinion about Adolf Hitler does. And no, Lukashenko did not praise Hitler in 1995. That was a dumb mistranslation. I'm so bored by this.
Need to support them across the board. But it seems that when it comes to these conflicts, when it comes to protests around the world, like these Belarusian protests, it really still you'll always find someone who will shill for the authoritarian regime.
Okay, the only one who is shilling for authoritarian regimes is the one that supports the fascists who are equidistant, like the. My God, how do you guys not look up like Belarus flag and realize this is from the 1941? My God.
In this case, I would say it was Ben Norton from the Gray Zone who was probably the biggest shill for Lukashenko, who.
Actually, I believe I started shilling for Lukashenko before Ben Norton. I don't like when I saw I believe I predated shilling for Lukashenko. Okay, let me check. I'm a little offended by this. Okay, so I started shilling for Lukashenko on August 20th. Okay, Actually, he predated me, absolutely. Okay, so he started chilling for Lukashenko on August 11th. So, oh, I'm not getting any money. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm troll. Okay, so I'm a little offended to be left out because I was one of the earliest chills for Lukashenko.
Right when the protest started, he just called it another color revolution by the United States.
Nice.
And Ben Norton was 100% correct.
Is there any evidence to support the idea that it is just another?
Let's see. The fact that the U.S. admitted to supporting it. Literally, this is not hidden. See, literally not hidden. Open NED. Oh my God. Okay. And then there's also a congressional bill that a certain AOC voted for about supporting Nazis in Belarus, but whatever.
Color revolution by the United States?
I would say it would be difficult to prove it. I have seen no evidence up to this point that there's been any CIA ops or anything like
that. Except go to CIA.gov and do a FOIA reading of Belarus. Actually, let me just do that. Yeah, literally, if you go to CIA.gov, you are totally going to be reading about the coup attempts there. Okay, from 1995 onwards. Literally, like, they had to go to CIA.gov and they refused to do it. Like, if you're gonna say that it is not a CIA op, why don't you just go to CIA.gov and check? No. The NOD openly always admits that's no big deal. The CIA, there's open documents about that. When you're in power, you don't have to hide because you have the nuclear bombs. And so there's nothing for you to hide. You're not afraid of anyone.
I would say the West are more supportive of the protest movement, but that's like the closest you get to evidence of.
Are you kidding? I caught them fundraising the day after. The NED's been doing it. There's a congressional bill from 2004 that calls for regime change in Belarus and constant funding every single year by the State Department and USAID. So this is just Google stuff.
Of it, I would say that, and even if there was support for it, like the United States certainly supported the Hong Kong protesters, does that not make the demands of said protesters valid?
Yes, it does not, because if the position were popular, you should be able to do it with just a translation of Lenin's collected works like they did in China, Vietnam, Cuba, etc. And you don't need an empire with billions of dollars worth of weapons. But the reason why they need to back up their protests with the empire is because it's not democratic. So you'll also notice the shock doctrine. The first things the U.S. does is like take away democracy in various methods. And yeah.
Anyway, even if there was.
Do you think the term color revolution is ever used in good faith anymore? I understand that historic. Front me there. I understand that historic. Okay, of course, America still engages in regime change. Of course, I mean we literally just tried and failed to do it in Venezuela. And
don't get me started on that operation.
right, yeah. Right, well, it was a.
This is so stupid. Oh my god.
Front of all the cameras, and you can see him get like slowly more and more angry because this is somebody who's not used to this type of pressure. Right in front of him. Again, he's the person who detains you in the middle of the night, throws you away, tortures you, and you disappear forever.
Well, very easily flustered. You know, the
extremely.
facade breaks quickly.
Okay, who was disappeared? Name names. Yeah, please name names. If you can't name a single disappeared person, yeah, name names.
Close-up video because you can see his face get super snarled.
What percentage of the population would you say still stands by him?
About 90 to 100%, like really close to a lot, because they don't want the West to come in, and they've seen Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Ukraine, and it can go anywhere from, oh my god, what Ukraine's maybe the best case scenario. No, yeah, it can range anywhere from Ukraine to Yugoslavia to Syria to even Afghanistan. So no.
Is there like a large MAGA crowd there that is?
There are people who support him, but
no, because all the counter-revolutionaries got purged thanks to Lenin.
I have yet to meet any person that's part of like the Belarusian diaspora that like.
Children of Nazis don't. This is so funny. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry. The Belarusian diaspora is known to be the worst Nazis on earth. But
says they're.
Yes, the swarm tactics.
I don't even know what this is. Okay, I don't even care.
How are the protests doing now at this point? Are they still holding strong?
They have not slowed down.
Okay. Don't be ridiculous. Let me just show you some silly videos from the protest. Oh yeah. Actually, I have a lot of the videos from the protest. So let me see if I can. Oh, oopsie daisy. Oh god. Okay, give me a second. Okay, we're actually yeah, I'm not gonna. Oh god. Okay, so here's the okay, so here's the police not killing people, unlike in the U.S. Notice how they're backing away. And here's this like adorable old man. Okay, I love these signs in English. Belarus, I don't know. Opposition claimed that they were tear gassing them, but look closely at who has the tear gas. See, it's not a policeman, it's the opposition that had the tear gas against the police. Do you see that? Let's try this again. So remember when they said that Lukashenko was tear gassing protesters? Look at who has the tear gas. See, the protesters have the tear gas and not the police. Um, okay, so I think I have more. Let's see. Yeah, I have more. Yeah, I have more. Oh, okay. Are we gonna? Okay, so I think I've streamed much for 2.5 hours. So I'm at my end of brain rot. But if somebody can edit out clips for me, well, okay, I'll edit it out and I'll try to come back. Oh God, this sucks. Okay, they are the worst people. Oh my God, they should. This is why after the revolution we are banning YouTube. By the way, please subscribe. Go to historically.substack.com subscribe, because you know how underrated I am and how much research I do compared to those idiots. So please subscribe and ignore anyone who has not read Lenin. With that, I'm gonna say, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been 2.5 hours. Okay, so I'll be back soon after this, and I would say, Slobodu narodu, smrti fascismu, and no more YouTubers after the